But yo, my beats, they are hard.
All right, welcome to another live episode of the BCSN SportsWrap. Brian Fulford, A.D. Drew here. You know, happy Father's Day to everybody. Happy Father's Day, Drew. Drew said he wanted to open up the show with a little ball and parlay. So a little Father's Day, what do you call Father's Day gift to Drew. We'll open up with some ball and parlay. There you go. How you feeling today, man?
I'm feeling great now. I just heard my theme music. Remember, I'm gonna get you, sucker. Where's my or Prime? Where's my theme music?
Right. People think Prime started that, right? But no, that was
I'm gonna get you, sucker.
Right.
Keenan
Ivory Wayans who started that first. Now, it wasn't Dion. It wasn't Coach Prime. Of course, for all the young heads, you know, they think that was a Coach Prime thing, you know. But of course, Coach Prime, like us, he grew up.
He recycled it.
Yeah,
and he recycled
he knew
it.
about it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He knew about it. So, of course, like all things, you know, when you got the kind of swag and gift that he's got, it is.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So good to be on with everybody here Sunday night. Hopefully, we got some folks that are tuning in already. Tamara T checking in, wishing everybody happy Father's Day. Of course, it's good to see you. Thank you, Tamara T, for checking in with us. A member of the Jericho Broadcast Network's subscribing team. Want to thank anybody who's watching us. You might be watching us on X. You could be watching us on YouTube or Facebook. Instagram Live also happening. So we say hello to anybody watching us on Instagram Live for checking in as well. Hit the thumbs up and the like button if you would, please, wherever you are watching. If you're on X or Instagram, actually, you know, Drew, I don't know if you know this, but if you're watching on X from your laptop, you can send in messages. You can chat. There's a chat room in X as well. I don't know. We have a lot of people that use it, but I know we got a few people on some other shows that take advantage of it. Instagram's a little harder. Like if I bump over to Instagram now, you know, there might be a few people watching. Tracy's so blessed Bradshaw. Thanks for joining the show. You know, she checked in on Instagram. So, you know, every now and then I get a chance to peep over on Instagram and see who's there, but somehow it's not incorporated into the platform that we use. So it's a little difficult.
Right.
But any and everywhere we say hello, we thank you. Glad you could take some time out to watch and check in with us. Your normal Sunday evening host. lot of, Drew, even though there's really no HBCU sports, it's a busy sports weekend. There's a lot of stuff happening on TV. I've been watching some college baseball. I watched 2 WNBA games on back-to-back days. PGA US Open is happening. UFL Championship is happening right now. Anything I missed that you might have been watching?
Today or just this week?
Just this weekend.
Well, you had basketball Friday. Make it the gentleman's sweep. You make it the gentleman's sweep.
I wasn't surprised. Were you surprised that maybe
No.
I was surprised by the score? I'm not surprised by the outcome.
And also NHL also going on at the same time. So we won't get a sweep in either one of those.
Not surprised though. There's something about coming home and winning a championship on your home court or home ice.
Yeah, and the interesting thing, obviously the UFL championship is going on right now in St. Louis. St. Louis Battlehawks did not get there, but there's still plenty of people in St. Louis concerned about the other 2 championships because obviously Jason Tatum being from St. Louis playing for the Celtics, and Kachuk, who plays for the Edmonton Oilers. And did you know they are high school classmates at Chaminade Prep in St. Louis, Missouri?
Did not know that. No, you got me on that one.
NBA player playing for a championship and an NHL player playing for the championship in the same year, who both went to the same high school. What are the odds of that?
Exactly. What are the odds? Well, hey, it's good to know. It's good to know brothers are out there. They're doing something. Appreciate Chuck Hunt for checking in with us from Monroe, Louisiana. Not a father, but an uncle. That qualifies, Chuck. That qualifies. You qualified. You get a happy Father's Day shout out from us, because I'm sure your brother, your sister, I'm sure they count on you to be the good uncle. Uncle Chuck. Y'all make sure you go talk to Uncle Chuck. You got some issues or some questions, you might need some extra money, go ask Uncle Chuck.
You know what's the interesting thing about those uncles and aunts who don't have their own kids?
That's me.
Yeah.
Well, no, I take that back. My sister doesn't have any kids, so I guess that's anyway. Go ahead. I got what you're saying.
But they love to spoil your kids. They buy them stuff. They give them anything that they want.
Anything.
And as they get older, they be like, and I'll just use you for an example. I tell them, no, you can't get any, you can't buy this, so we're not buying this. Next thing you know, they call Uncle Bryan, and Uncle Bryan went and bought it for them, or it could be something simple. It could be we at the store together, and Uncle Bryan had bought them the candy at the checkout aisle that you don't buy, or that toy to shut them up because they start whining for that toy, and stuff like that. So that's just
the first time you get in trouble for that, though, that's when you go to, did you ask your mama? What's your mom gonna say?
But see, every uncle and aunt don't do that.
Oh well.
And kids will manipulate, and it ain't just the uncles and the aunts. It's the grandmothers, the grandfathers, the kids know which family member to go to get that thing when mommy and or daddy say no, including playing mommy and daddy against each other.
See, I missed that. I didn't live close to my aunts and uncles, so I didn't get a chance to do that. But I can imagine that's one of them situations where kids are like, look, don't you tell your mama or your daddy I bought you this now. Don't, if you do.
Where you get that extra $20 for that field trip?
Yeah, exactly. There, you tell them, hey, you put this to the side. Don't you tell them that I gave you this money. Now, you be smart. So that's what uncles. And,
I got a friend, and her son would be like, he will call his aunt and have his aunt cash out him some money to do something.
Yeah, see, just leaving a trail.
Yeah, like the boy ain't even in high school yet. And he got his own cash app. What's wrong with this picture?
Right. Shout out to Jeff Roberts checking in, Aggie Pride. How about Stephen Gaither? Congratulations, Steve, man. First Father's Day. Congratulations. Man, what an awesome feeling, man. Shout out to anybody who's experiencing their first Father's Day. That's got to be an awesome feeling, man. That's got to be. Drew, you remember your first Father's Day? Been a long
Yeah,
time.
been a long time. Long time, my brother. Long time.
Now, I always wonder with that first one, that's now I wanted to say I heard somebody say it's kind of like the same thing when you have a significant other or wife or husband. It's the kids who are supposed to be getting the mother or father the gift, right? I've heard it said, I'm not your father. Them kids that we have, their daddy. They're the ones that I don't know how that works. How's that dynamic work, Drew? I mean, who's responsible for getting the gifts?
You could say the kids or whatever. The kids may pick it out, but who got to pay?
Yeah.
Whoever the adult is in the situation.
Right.
Right.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I do have one of beef with Father's Day.
Uh-oh. What's that?
For Mother's Day, we take mama, wife, whoever, grandmama, out to the restaurant. Yeah, we may spend an hour in line at the restaurant, but we take them out to the restaurant, correct?
Yep.
Father's Day, restaurants empty today. You know what happened? They
Mm-hmm.
make you go out and grill for your day. Now they may season the meat, they may do the sides and everything, but you the one who got to get out of that hot A grill today.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
but it's
Yep.
Father's Day.
Yeah.
So
Well, hey, look, on today's show, besides kind of going through some of the news and notes of the past week, I think Drew and I we were talking, we were trying to figure out how to, what could we look into, and we're going to kind of spotlight some of the week 0, week 1 games. I finally
before
finished.
to
I
finish the
finally
Matrix.
finished the Matrix, Drew.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
finally finished the Matrix.
yeah.
So
Oh,
we know every game, home, away, neutral site, homecomings, and so now we can start to kind of doing the first glance at some games. So I was like, let's kind of go through the week 0 and week 1 games of note and kind of just share some opening thoughts. And we don't have, unless we do this, Drew. I don't know if we're gonna go to predictive model or
no,
point
we're not doing
spreads,
predict
things like
today. We're
that.
not going to predict today.
Okay, or
Yeah,
not even. I
because
don't even have point spreads together. So
I
maybe
haven't
next.
had time to do my homework on that stuff.
Yeah, maybe next show, but just kind of general first look thoughts. We'll
Yeah.
get into some of that.
Also, I wanted to say, shout out. No, Steve. I hope Steve is still on. Shout out for the article with the update from the happenings with the CIAA with their summer meetings. And Steve, I got some thoughts on that flag football portion that you put in that CIAA article on HBCU game day. So I'll be in touch with you or get in touch with me so we can
Well,
further discuss that.
let's start there. Let's start there. I
Okay.
mean, I
That
just pulled it up.
that's a shame. That's a
Um,
shameless transition.
yeah, no. Well, I figured, since it's Steve's first Father's Day, I mean, we might as well start with it with
So
an article that he posted, of course, on
while changing
HBCUGame.com.
diapers.
Yeah. Hold on, trying to pull it up here. Making sure I get it up here. All right. So
And y'all
okay.
have to
So
y'all have to excuse me with not being in my home studio today.
yeah, well, you do a great job of covering it as well. You care to tell people where you're at? Any idea?
Man,
Guess where
I
guess where Drew is. That how about we do that? Guess where Drew is. Can anybody guess where Drew is?
Actually, they paid attention last week on last week's show. I did say it last week, so I
You
don't know if
did.
anybody was paying
Anybody pay,
attention.
yeah, if they were paying attention or not. Okay. Um, hold on. I'm having a bit of a difficulty here pulling up the article. You know, well, let me not say what I was gonna say. You know, I understand everybody's got to get paid off doing the content, but damn, it's hard trying to navigate and see things. Let me just put it like that. All right. So let me see if I can figure this out here, Drew.
I got the article if you need it.
Got it pulled up. I got a portion of it, and then I got a
I
portion
got
of
it.
it which I can't seem to navigate off this
I
particular
got it.
ad.
I
Okay,
got it.
so just start with the top of it. Start with the top of the ad, and then I can see everything after the picture from the CFG Bank Arena.
All right.
Yeah,
But you're assuming that we got the same ad.
I'm probably so. Probably so. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that is the same one. I see it. I had to scroll down. The CIW, this was by Steve Gaither. This was posted on the 14th, which was Friday. The
Days ago,
CI,
yeah.
yeah, the CIAA, the oldest HBCU conference, has announced a number of changes and initiatives as a result of its spring meetings. Uh, Here's what the league, made up of 13 Division II HBCU programs on the East Coast, says when they came up with the meeting. First of all, let's start with the CIAA tournament. Uh, 27 and beyond are up for bids. The board has agreed to initiate the CIAA men's and women's basketball tournament bidding process in January of 2025 for the 2027 tournament and beyond. The conference will announce the selected site before the 26th tournament in keeping with its standard practice. Obviously, we know the tournament is currently in Baltimore, and it has said that it has had an economic impact of $81.7 million over the 3 seasons that it's been played in Baltimore. So let's just stop right there,
Yeah.
Bryan.
Yeah.
Let's let's talk
I
wish list of cities.
Well, hold on. Before we go to the cities, now one thing that I'm always curious about, and I'm nitpicking here, but I never see reported attendance numbers of these games. Now, you know, I know that you just stated the economic impact over 3 years. So let's average out. You're saying that's probably about a little over 25 mil a year, right?
Right.
I keep wondering what are the attendance numbers, because I, and whether it be, I know it's kind of difficult because you do how many games in a day. So I guess, um,
You can
I don't,
you may have like 6 games in a day.
yeah. So dude, I don't know if they break them up necessarily in sessions, like you have a
One
first
in the
3 games,
afternoon.
one session, and the evening sessions or what. Um, but I'm always curious about. Especially on the Friday. I think the Fridays and Saturdays are the easiest days because those are your semifinals and your
And your
championship
championship.
days,
Right.
right? So I'm always curious, and I started to question and wonder about this the last year it was in Charlotte. What were the attendance numbers? I don't see much talk about the attendance numbers. I always hear it at the I haven't been now, so I preface all this by saying I have never been to put my own eyes into the CIAA tournament. It's one of my bucket list items, things that I want to go to and see. I want to go to a CIAA tournament. It's always hard because I'm usually in basketball season around that time, right?
Right.
So
And you guys are usually preparing for your own tournament during that time.
yeah,
Or
fortunately,
championships. Or
yeah, the last 2 years
championships.
I've been at a school where we're playing in the state tournament at that point. So getting to see it is a challenge, but I'm always curious, well, what are the numbers? What's the attendance like? Um, is that just me, a personal thing, a concern to me, or do you ever wonder or have any questions or concerns? I don't know if concern is the right word, but just any questions about attendance. What does the real attendance numbers look like?
I've never really questioned it because obviously we know the CIAA is the oldest conference basketball tournament out there. And it's the granddaddy of all basketball tournaments. It's even better than probably arguably the ACC tournament, which a lot of people equate as the top tournament on the Division I level. You know, I've been to the Big East tournament. I've been to I have been to an ACC tournament game. So, you know, and from what I've seen on TV, you know, the CIAA has tended to have good numbers. I know the CIAA is tops out of the 4 HBCU conference tournaments. We can quantify that without.
Now, how do you quantify that though when the numbers are never there? Like if you see Doc right there, Doc,
Visual,
Happy Father's Day,
well,
by the way.
visually, I would say the CIAA is probably is the tops.
But I tell you, I've seen visually some MEAC tournament games which look like pretty doggone well attended in Norfolk Scope.
Oh, okay. That what when Norfolk and Hampton were playing each other back in the day. I'm just saying, but you know, and the reason I bring that up, not to be funny, but part of that is the proximity of the teams in the championship game or in those coveted time slots, you know, that Friday evening game or those evening time slots to the location of the tournament. You know, obviously, if in Baltimore, I mean, Bowie State, if Bowie State is in a championship type event, Bowie State is going to have an impact on the attendance. Maybe a link in the PA, possibly the 2 Virginia schools, but the Carolina schools are not going to have as big of a walk-up impact. That's the best way to put it, a walk-up impact. But when the tournament was in Charlotte, it was the exact opposite.
Right.
So, you know, that is part of it. You know, when I was at the SIAC, I mean, excuse me, I was at the SWAC tournament. I was at both. Stop it, Steve. Stop it.
I had to throw that in there. When you... that was a great drop, Steve. That was a great drop. Bowie's never made it third. But hey, he will tell you, he will get this in there though. Steve will let you know that Winston-Salem got there though. So put respect on Winston-Salem's name. Yeah, exactly. That's a good shot.
I'm sorry, but when I was at the SWAC tournament, when it was in Birmingham, when Alabama State or Alabama A&M played, those games were impacted by the fans. Jackson State was another one because Jackson State is a very drivable distance from Birmingham to Jackson, Mississippi. Now, with some of those other games, when you had Texas Southern was in there, you know, a lot of times that is the people who came in the traveling party. Yeah, you're going to get a few people who may migrate over from Atlanta to Birmingham, but it doesn't have the impact that Alabama State, Alabama A&M, or Jackson State may have on it. You know, same thing. SIAC tournament this past year. The SIAC they can't say this publicly, but I can. The last 2 years with you know, it was the tournament being in Savannah with those Savannah teams. Now the men got there 2 years ago. You know, this year looked like the women were going to get there. These are one of them got there this year. Attendance was impacted on Sunday because I was there Saturday when Savannah had teams still playing, versus Sunday when they didn't have teams playing. So that has a lot to do with your quote unquote walk up sales. You know, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, whatever day it is, them ain't even mamas or girlfriends there on those days. That is nothing but the official party of those schools. And a few faithfuls.
Right.
More towards the weekends.
Like numbers,
that's when you start getting the other people who come up. That's when you get your alums to start coming on the weekends because they can take a Friday, Saturday, Sunday off. You get your diehard basketball fans, your conference fans, and then you get your walk-ups on the weekends when their team is still playing.
Well, I think as you saw, Steve had posted that he said about 60,000 over the course of an entire tournament, somewhere in that ballpark, which I think that's pretty good. I mean, for what do they do? 6 days?
I believe
6
so. It
days.
starts
I
either
mean,
Monday or Tuesday here.
yeah. So I mean, that's pretty good. Where you're averaging, if you do the average, that's about 10 per day. Obviously, like as you just said, you're going to have more on the back end than in the beginning, but still over the course of an entire day, I mean, 10,000 coming through the turnstiles. I mean, that's pretty significant for 6 good days. And I guess maybe part of the move, maybe attendance in Charlotte wasn't that well. If you hear what A&T Roy said. And Steve brings up there was a lot more to compete with in Charlotte around that time. So, well, okay. So getting off of the tennis, what was the other point that you were talking about? Sites. You know,
this is just pure banter. No inside information. We haven't talked to anybody. We haven't had a chance to dive deep into this. No more than what Steve put into his article. But just think it out loud. Obviously, Charlotte is going to be in the mix for trying to get the tournament back into the Charlotte area because they probably realized what they lost.
what they lost. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and
Baltimore,
that's a good thing.
Baltimore is going to try to keep it. So let's get
Sure.
those
And
two.
when the bidding comes up, that's a positive for you because look, just like you've seen with, for example, the NFL contracts, whenever you have two entities, in this case, cities, you can drive up the price. So if Charlotte is going to put a bid in, they're going to have to come well over what Baltimore is doing
Right.
with some few extras. So that's all a
Right.
win for the CIAA. I don't
Gotcha.
know. Is there a third location? I mean, I don't know about I got to really know the history. What other locations, if it's not Charlotte, Baltimore is good?
DC.
Is there?
DC.
I don't know. Is DC's in the
I'm
CIAA
just.
market?
It's kind of a midpoint. You have to go through DC to get to Baltimore.
Yeah.
Possibly somewhere in Virginia.
Norfolk. I mean, I don't know Norfolk or what else you have out there. That's your biggest city. Richmond. I don't know Richmond.
Yeah.
I don't know. Always interesting to see.
Here's another one.
Yeah.
Here's another one. What does Rock Hill, which is suburb of Charlotte, come with this old separate bid and try to pull people into the South Carolina side to get their tax money over there in South Carolina?
That's true. Dr. Cavill saying the Baltimore mayor winning his reelection race is helpful for Baltimore. I was thinking I was thinking Raleigh as well. I didn't want to say it, but I was thinking Raleigh as well in terms of other cities in North Carolina.
North Carolina, yeah.
I was thinking Raleigh as well.
All right. Does the CIAA go outside the footprint?
Steve says it was in Richmond, Norfolk, and Hampton for 20 years. That's right. And obviously that was because you had
pre-Charlotte,
Norfolk State, North Carolina Central, Hampton, formerly Division II school. Yeah. So that's the second. So Jeff just said no. Steve said hell no to Rock Hill. So I don't think obviously Rock Hill would come with a lot of money,
and they would do it. Okay. They would. I could see them doing it. But do you go outside the footprint?
Now when you say outside the footprint, don't say that. Don't say the G word. Don't say the A word.
Well, you have to throw that in there because every black event, it seems like they want to go to
Atlanta.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, if you want to look outside the footprint, maybe a Jack, maybe
Doc's thinking right there with you. Hey, if he's thinking right there with you. If he was in, Doc said he was in political official in Atlanta, he'd push for
it. And now I want you to think about this. Because of the timing, Atlanta could wind up with 3 of the 4 tournaments.
Ooh.
because the CIAA plays a week before everybody else. They're always the first tournament, correct?
Yes, I believe so. Yeah.
So you could go from CIAA straight into SIAC. SIAC gets done, straight into SWAC.
Ooh, Jesus.
If you a basketball junkie, I mean, logistically, it could be done. Now, finding an arena, or wait, hold on. Let me say this: finding an arena or a series of arenas.
There you go.
That it could for 3 consecutive weeks. But if there's one place that's got plenty of basketball arenas, it's Atlanta.
Is there such a thing as HBCU event fatigue? Is that something to think about?
That would be a case study. That would be a case study.
That's a lot of folks in 3 consecutive weeks.
Yeah, that would be a case study. And you're talking about a place that has the hotels that can do it.
Adding more depth here to the information about attendance. Steve was saying 32,000 unique visitors in 2022. 66,000 was the total. Yeah. So.
And I like that number because when you go from 32 to 66, that shows people were invested in it and were not just fair weather people just watching a specific team. They were there for multiple days. Or you had a bunch of people following the same team that were those teams that were winning. One of the two things happened.
How about these for cities? Columbia or Greenville, South Carolina, instead of a Rock Hill, South Carolina.
I could see Columbia, but haven't been to Greenville. But I could definitely see Columbia. I mean, hell, if you want to do something crazy in South Carolina, go to Myrtle Beach. It's hard as hell to get there, but they do have facilities in Myrtle Beach.
All right, let's do this. Let's come back to some more notes from that article after the break. Let's take a quick break and come back with some more from the CIAA meetings, an article put together by Stephen Gaither, HBCUGameDay.com. Some interesting notes involving a couple of sports that I know are of interest to a lot of us. So happy Father's Day to everybody coming in, joining us. Hit the thumbs up and the like button if you're watching us on Facebook and on YouTube. We appreciate all of your views, all of your clicks. And let's take a short break. Come back.
And see if you can guess where I'm at.
Right. If you can guess where A.D. Drew is, where in the world is A.D. Drew? Of course, never in his home studio to start the show. But A.D. Drew is somewhere. I won't even use the Mississippi. I won't use that as a line, but maybe you know. I maybe just gave a hint. All right, we'll be back in just a minute. You're watching the BCSN Sports Wrap right here on the Black College Sports Network.
Supermarket sushi, really?
No. Wait, Troy, you work here?
I'm never not working. Like Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology, up to 100% dandruff protection, even between washes.
Never not working, huh?
Oh, Troy, you're such a good teacher.
Yeah, I know. Never not working. Never not working. Never, ever not working.
Are you serious?
Never not working. Dandruff protection that's never not working. Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
This is Brian Fulford. A.D. Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN SportsWrap. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN SportsWrap, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
You're looking for the latest information on Southern University sports, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and HBCU athletics. There's only one place to go. Tune in to the Carlos Brown Show, exclusively on the Black College Sports Network.
All right, welcome back to the BCSN SportsWrap. Bryan and A.D here, wishing everybody, or wishing the dads, let me say it the right way, wishing the fathers, the grandfathers, the uncles, the father figures, the coaches, the teachers, the mentors. Did I miss out anybody? All of you. Happy Father's Day.
Pastors, the ministers.
Yeah, happy Father's Day to y'all. Definitely celebrating strong Black men, celebrating men worldwide who are just pouring love, pouring encouragement into their sons and daughters, or maybe somebody else's son and daughter. Shout out to my dad. Was able to
and mine.
yeah. Shout out to Mr. Drew. I was able to buy my dad do a little. He wanted some McDonald's for breakfast. He didn't want nothing big. He was like, I just want some McDonald's. I'm like, okay.
You should Uber Eat it or something.
No,
order some Uber Eats.
I wanted to go pick it up, so I got on my McDonald's app and I found a location near him. It was pretty cool. I was able to do it, pay for it, and put it when he got there. He was at number whatever pickup spot. Put it in the app. And it came, everything came. I was like, man, technology, man, it's awesome. So it's kind of cool to be able to do that from hundreds of miles away from my dad. And I think my sister's got dinner duty, so she's taking care of him for dinner tonight.
Well, you got the cheap end of the stick.
Quiet. No, I took care of. I did take care of him for his birthday, because my dad's birthday was like a month ago. So I took care of dinner when he was at my aunt's, who's sort of like a big sister. And she cooked him dinner. So I bought all the food. She cooked it. I bought all the food. So I took care of him for that dinner. So there you go.
Gotcha.
Wasn't like I didn't do nothing. Not like when I was younger. I can afford a little something these days.
I got you.
All right. So we're talking about the CIAA meetings. An article from HBCU Game Day. Stephen Gaither put a nice summary of some of the events from the CIAA meetings from their spring meetings. And just in case you didn't know, there's 13 members of the CIAA, the newest member being Bluefield State, although, Drew, they've kind of lost a member, not officially, but sort of unofficially, right?
Football, at least.
At least in football, not other sports. You don't think it's other sports?
I'm wondering if they'll be playing volleyball. Did they even play volleyball?
And we're talking about St. Augustine, St. Aug.
Yeah. Yes.
Just in case you didn't know, they suspended their football program.
Right.
I feel like I feel like I can say this. Our good friend of the program, Coach Ferrasi, was like this close to getting the job at St. Aug. Of course, things kind of fell apart. I talked to Coach Ferrasi the other day. He's got a great opportunity coming up in the state of Alabama. We'll maybe share that at another time. But it is just football only, apparently, that St. Aug has chosen not to participate in football this year, obviously that being the most expensive sport that any athletic department will have to tackle. So they and then in terms of future membership, you think there'll be a 14th that might pop onto the radar anytime soon, Drew?
Who do you have in mind?
I don't have you. You very connected. You well connected in there. I don't know. Is there anybody out there?
I'm not even getting into conference churning right now. Look,
Okay. All right. I'm sorry. I'm
look,
sorry for bringing that up.
I've got it. But between learning to say HBCUAC along with the new members, still trying to figure out who's doing what on the FBS level with everybody moving to these new conferences either this year or next year, or some people going park it over here for a year and going over here for a year. And I'm not talking about the big boys. I'm talking about even some of the little boys, schools that maybe regional schools to a particular area that, yeah, I knew them growing up. They were in this conference. These are the teams they played. Now they're going to be playing these type teams. So, there's a lot to wrap your head around, Brian.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
today ain't the day to start rapping.
Okay. All right. So we'll shelve that. We'll shelve that. Disregard that comment by myself. Okay. Let's get into the next news item or notes from those CIAA spring meetings.
Okay. Here's a great collab. The Black College Hall of Fame Legacy Bowl will start featuring the CIAA and the SIAC. The board agreed in collaboration with the Southern Intercollegiate Athletic Conference, the SIAC, that the CIAA SIAC football champions will be invited to play in the NFL Black College Hall of Fame game annually beginning in 2025 as part of the participation partnership. This will take place in lieu of a previously proposed Week 0 game between the CIAA and the SIAC. So, boy, this is top notch right here. The fact that that in addition to your reward for getting to go to the playoffs to play for a championship if you win your conference, there is going to be a financial reward on the backside when you go get to play in this Legacy Bowl. So this may be the type of thing that could help sustain some departments and help start building possibly some dynasties. But if it does nothing else, it's going to ramp up the competition among the teams because everybody's going to want to get for that opportunity. And now, and we'll just take last year's winners. That would be Union
Benedict and Virginia
and Benedict. Yeah, that would be Benedict and Union. So if you're a Benedict fan or you're a Union fan, starting in November, you can start making your plans to go to the Black College Hall of Fame game in Ohio.
Canton, Ohio. Yep.
Yeah,
right there.
you can start saving. You can go ahead and start booking your hotels. Boom, let's do it now. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is that the same weekend as the MEAC SWAC Challenge?
No,
It is not.
It
is Labor Day weekend.
It is not correct. It's Labor Day weekend, which for Division 2. Now that's week 1.
Week 1.
Week 1, but a lot of Division 2s are opening their season week
early.
2, which is the weekend after. And I think this is just because of the calendar.
This year.
Calendar quirk, where a lot of HBCUs, a lot of Division 2s really are playing their first game the weekend of September 7th, or
that's financial.
Right. But they could play week 1 because it's an open date.
Right.
It is a date. Just means
but there's one less week that you have to bring those kids back on campus early, which is going to save these teams money.
I love how you always make note of that. It is a reality. It's funny. In our space, in this world, it matters. I'd love for somebody to, like, what is that number? I'd love to know just across the board, what is that number? Is it is it 30, 50,000? What I'm just curious. There's just a thought in my head. Now, Steve says D2s are starting week 0 this year. Now, I don't believe there are any HBCUs playing week 0 this season. According to the matrix I did, nobody is playing that weekend. And actually, the Black College Football Hall of Fame does feature a CIAA and SIAC matchup.
Right.
So we'll mention that coming up shortly.
Right.
Who is playing in week 0? Steve says somebody is playing week 0. Who's playing week 0?
Yeah, I hadn't seen us D2. Is that week 0?
Let me see. According to my matrix, so Steve is saying now I would take him at his word. I mean, he is a Winston-Salem State guy, grad.
Now, we are talking. We are talking the last week in August, correct?
Yeah. Okay.
Because week 1 actually begins in August this year, and I just want to make sure we're not confusing.
Week 1 begins August 31st.
Yes.
This year, which is Labor Day, heading into Labor Day weekend.
Right.
Give me a second. For whatever reason, my spreadsheet is not pulling up here for me.
But while you talk about that, one thing also that the Legacy Bowl will be able to save on is from a financial point, because the Division IIs will not command as big of a payout as Division I's who come up to camp.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. Okay, I think week 0. Okay, so I was mistaken. Week 0. Hold on, let me look this up here, because on my matrix here, I was mistaken. A lot of schools are starting week 1. I think I was referencing about week 0. And I know that was discussed. I know that opportunity was put out there, because I think wasn't there a game last year that almost happened
That
didn't happen?
the CIAA and the SIAC, for if they are playing week 0, for starting the ball rolling, when the NCAA denied them the opportunity to play in week 0 last year.
Okay.
And that's what brought up the legislation to allow this to play, and got other conferences on board with it.
So week 0 is technically August 24th, the same week as the MEAC SWAC Challenge. Now,
yes,
according to the Winston-Salem State website, and I think, I know if this is, I'm not sure if this is contrary to what Steve is saying. I am aware that the D2 rules did change, but according to the Winston-Salem website, their game against Bluefield is August 31st. Now, maybe it is week 0, but a lot of people are playing that weekend. Week 1 is August 31st. Several schools are playing. So I'm sorry for incorrectly stating that. I think I may have got that confused on week 0. I don't know what I was thinking there. So yeah, but what you're referring to is the Black College Football Hall of Fame is that weekend. Now, the difference is, Drew, that you know what it is? The Black College Football Hall of Fame is played on a Sunday.
Yeah.
It's played on Sunday, while most of the games are played on Saturday.
Correct.
That game is played on Sunday.
Right. And correction, Brian, week 1 actually begins August 29th. It begins on that Thursday. It's when week 1 begins.
Correct. That technically, yes. And I mean, there is a few teams that play. Central State plays Thursday the 29th. There are a few Division I HBCUs that play that night. I think Alcorn plays that night. North Carolina A&T plays that night. So yes, technically Thursday night is the first day of week 1. Yes.
Yeah, because a football week goes from Thursday to Wednesday.
Crazy. Yes. It goes from Thursday to Wednesday. You're right. Yeah. So, but think about this for a second. How strong is this for the CIAA and the SIC? that not only did they last year have a postseason bowl game, right? Now, obviously, they still participate in the
playoffs.
they participate in the NCAA playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
But for the teams that don't make the playoffs, the opportunity to play a postseason bowl was started last year. And I believe I'm mistaken, was that Johnson C. Smith and
Fort Valley.
Fort Valley State, yes. And I think it's played in South Florida. It was like a driving rainstorm, or it was ridiculous weather that they had to play in. But still, you know, a postseason bowl game. I believe Johnson C. Smith won that game. Nope, wrong. Fort Valley won that game. Fort Valley won that game. Okay, so that is kind of so now you have coming up this year where you have not only a big bowl game featuring the champions from the previous year, then you have not only the playoffs but the postseason. More opportunities are abundance. What we still don't get those AD. We still don't get that week between, you know, when the CIAA championship and the SIC championship game is happening. Mm-hmm. We still don't get those cross division games that potentially could boost somebody's playoff metrics. You know what I'm saying? We don't get those. We haven't gotten that yet.
Correct.
And I don't know, logistically, you know, is it something that we will ever see?
Slowly, we're slowly starting to get to that point.
Right. And now with both conferences playing 8-game conference schedules, the number of non-conference games is even shorter now, right? Because you get two. You get two non-conference games because everybody plays a 10-game schedule, reserving the 11th game for potentially playing in the conference championship game.
Correct.
All right. So, yeah. So I don't know. I like it.
Couple other things
to the CIAA and SIC. What else you got?
Couple other things in the article. Flag football. You know, I've been one of the biggest proponents of our HBCU starting flag football ever since I was introduced to it at the NAIA level. The conference will explore women's flag football as a sponsored championship. The board supports the growth of flag football and agreed each institution interested should work directly with the conference regarding its interest and ability to secure funds through NFL, RCX, NCAA to support their partnership. The conference will poll membership for interest. The conference will continue to evaluate other sports such as soccer for consideration. Couple of things on this. Number one, and I have to look at the updated high school list to see which high schools have recently sanctioned flag football and how many of them are within the CIAA footprint. But if a state that's within the CIAA footprint has sanctioned flag football as a high school sport for a couple of years, it would be very smart for our CIAA institutions to start offering flag football, because number one, you're gonna get the cream of the crop, because there's, especially on the NCAA level, there are only a couple of teams. I believe Alabama State may be the first one. I don't think there are any Division IIs that are doing it yet. So while this is an emerging sport, let's get a leg up on the competition. Let's establish our HBCUs as a potential powerhouse in this emerging sport. Because in Bryan, I'm here to tell you, in about 10 years, Bryan, flag football is going to be hotter than women's softball. As far as the athletes that you will be recruiting and the fan interest.
Okay, let me share something with you. And this comes from, I just looked this up, highschoolot.com. These are states that have sanctioned girls flag football as a high school sport.
Okay, and let's just worry about our HBCU footprint when you look at those.
Yeah,
states.
yeah. Okay, so the only states within the HBCU footprint that have sanctioned them,
I know you got Florida, Alabama, Georgia. I know those three.
The only other one is the state of New York. Okay. Now, there are pilot programs in South Carolina. Oh, this is trying my map skills here. Hold on. South Carolina, North Carolina, Tennessee, Ohio, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Maryland. I'm gonna guess that I think that's Delaware, Connecticut, something like that. Like all of them have pilot programs.
If it's above New York, it's Connecticut. If it's below New York, it's Delaware.
Well, both of them do.
Oh, okay.
Pilot programs. Now, Kentucky and Virginia showing interest. So they don't officially have pilot programs, but there is an interest. West Virginia is the only state, I don't think we have, well, outside of West Virginia State. Bluefield State. Okay, those programs do not have, right now they're in what's called the black. There's no pilot programs. There's no show of interest at that level. Right. So, but like you said, there is a large portion of, even going into, there's pilot programs in Texas, Louisiana. Mississippi does not have any type of pilot program or interest, or Arkansas right now, according to the map from this site. Again, this is highschoolot.com.
Right.
So,
and I'll point blank tell you, Brian, and you know this, Florida for flag football talent is the hotbed for flag football talent. Florida was one of the first state, if not the first state, to sanction it as a high school sport, and it's growing on the NAIA level. And if you look at flag football rosters on the NAIA level, over 50% of these rosters come from the state of Florida. And I don't care. And you're talking teams that out in Kansas, up north in Jersey, Wisconsin, all the way out in Arizona. If you look at their rosters, a majority of these rosters come from the state of Florida. There is that wealth of talent in this sport in that state. And then if you continue on with those rosters, Georgia is number 2.
Yeah.
If you look at these rosters, so so the CIAA schools looking to add this in, one of two things: either you're going to tap down into the state of Florida, Georgia, Alabama, and get those girls who've already been playing. Now, Alabama is the newest of those 3 states as far as sanctioning it. And CIAA, let me tell you something. If you're smart, you get it in before the SIAC gets it in.
Yeah.
Because I know there's been talk in the SIAC about doing this. And these schools are already naturally in the SIAC's footprint.
Yeah.
So CIAA, I swear you better beat them to the punch and do it. And then, Ryan, could we have our own Pioneer Bowl, Celebration Bowl, or whatever bowl that we want to call it for flag football between CIAA, SIAC?
Yeah.
And Brian, I will tell you where it will be at. It will be at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. And you know why I know it's going to be there?
Don't they already do? The Falcons. Don't the Falcons already?
The Falcons are one of the biggest supporters of NFL flag that they are out there. Arthur Blank and the NAIA championships have been there for the last 4 years. So
this past year in the state
there's
of Florida, I'm going to add to that. You're talking about NFL owners and stadiums. In the state of Florida, this past year, the state championships were held at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers indoor facility. And I saw videos of that state championship. Woo! It was
packed.
Great crowds. I mean, it was like, yo. And they've been doing flag football in the state of Florida for at least 20 years.
I would say a couple decades. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. A couple more numbers here, Drew. According to data from the National Federation of State High School Associations, 913 schools fielded girls flag football teams with 20,875 participants during the 22-23 school year. Obviously, that number will rise from this past school year, 23-24. 8 states have already sanctioned the sport, with 2 more expected to sanction this past spring, and another 22 are running girls flag football pilot programs. So again, further stating what I said, that's 32 of 51 state associations are participating in girls flag football in some form or fashion. So that's awesome.
And this is the reason why I say it needs to be added. And it's the back half of that comment.
Yeah.
Great way to help with Title IX. It is a cheap sport. And number one, you don't have to build a facility for it. Because especially if you already have football at your school, you already have a facility. If you have a soccer facility, you already have a facility that can host flag football. By the way, Birmingham is up 16-0 for all those watching.
I was just watching. Yeah, I saw that. It looked like they're trying to score another touchdown in this one.
Yes, and about to score another one. The startup costs, it's not like you have to go out and get helmets and all this equipment. Your equipment costs footballs, uniforms, flags, and a few other training things, cones and
is it cheaper than soccer though? Is it cheaper than soccer? I mean, soccer being an outdoor sport.
Guess what you don't have to have for
the goalpost.
You don't have to have the goals. You don't have to have the nets behind the goals.
I get you.
You've already got a cost savings there. If you got a football program, you already got pylons. You already got the yard markers.
True. Okay.
It is the cheapest sport to start up.
Soccer being on the menu as well for the CM. Interesting.
Men's or women's, Steve?
Yeah, that's a good question. Men or women's? Because I think, let's see, the SWAC does women's soccer.
Correct.
I don't think any of our HBCU conferences are doing men's soccer.
No, which is a doggone shame, but that's a different story.
It's probably more a Title IX thing.
It is. It really is. But if you don't, if your school's not playing football, I think you need to be doing men's soccer. Anyway,
what else in that article?
Last thing, football conference realignment. The board agreed that the CIAA would rank teams from 1 to 12, with the top 2 teams advancing to the conference championship effective 2024, similar to what the SIAC did. They basically did away with divisions. The only question that I have about this is not for beyond, but for this year, the effect of St. Augustine on the schedule. 8 conference games, 7 conference games. How is that going to be rectified? Because I have still never seen anything official about how that is going to be rectified for those 8 conference games that St. Augustine had on their schedule, how they're going to fill that gap and how that's going to affect these series. Because you can't have some teams playing 8 conference games and some teams playing 7 conference games. It's not going to be fair. So I would love to see something official about that. And Steve may have more information on that that he has not released yet. But that's the one thing that I do have a question about when it comes to the CIAA.
Steve's saying they use week 0. See, and the thing is, they maybe I don't. When I looked at the schedule on most of these sites, again, when I built our matrix, I don't see anybody playing week 0. Now,
Right.
maybe they are. Maybe it just
Maybe
hasn't been.
they probably use that and then use the St. Augustine game as a buy to balance it, so that it doesn't affect the schedules too much. And that's cool. But like I said, I haven't seen anything official. So, and I haven't looked at the matrix to make sure that everybody has 8 conference games now for those teams that were playing the St. Augustine.
So what I've been able to discover, the few games that I did see St. Aug on some schedules, like when I look at Lincoln, PA, they were supposed to play Lincoln, PA. Now, Lincoln, PA, now, according to the most recent schedule I've seen on their website, they only have 9 games scheduled with 2 bye weeks right now, because they were supposed to play St. Aug on week 3. They have not found a new opponent, or a new opponent hasn't been scheduled yet. But other schools like Livingstone, well, let me see, hold on. Who else was supposed to play?
Just look at CIAA South.
I'll use Winston-Salem. Winston-Salem was supposed to play them, right? Winston-Salem now has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They have 10 games. And their bye week is the week that they were supposed to play St. Aug, which is November 2nd.
So they added the game to the front side of the schedule.
That's the Bluefield State on probably Bluefield State 8/31.
Right. And that's now a conference game, I'm assuming.
I won't say it is or not. I don't see it on, as I'm looking at the Winston-Salem State website right now.
Well, just look at Brian. Let's just do the simple thing. Look for their 2 non-conference games. If they have,
they do have 2 non-conference games: North Carolina A&T and Ohio Dominican University.
So that probably means that it's now a conference game.
But again, back to your point, there are some schools who don't. For example, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Nope. Let's see. Johnson C does have 8 games against
They added Lincoln. They added Lincoln
because
because I think Lincoln wound up having to flip a game with something in order to make everything fit.
Yes, that is what happened. Thank you for pointing it out. It's funny, I have on my matrix Johnson C. Smith playing Lincoln, but I didn't change it. I didn't change it on the Lincoln, PA side. So there it is. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for that. I love this. I can update this right now.
Steve says check Elizabeth City and Shaw.
Elizabeth City. So Elizabeth City has let's see. Elizabeth City plays Shaw week 1. That's 8/31. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They have 10 games. So I don't know when they were originally supposed to play them.
That was probably an added game if it's 8/31.
Shaw has a bye the last week or the week before the CIAA championship game. So
that was probably the St. Augustine.
That was probably the St. Aug game, because I don't have a St. Aug playing that game. Fayetteville State probably needs to add a game. They don't have an opponent on 8/31 to my knowledge, and they do have an open date. They have an open date on October 19th. Now, that was supposed to be and see, that's the thing. Now, Fayetteville State only has 7 conference games right now. So I don't know how you would make that work, because everybody else is playing somebody in the conference.
Right. So that's one of those questions that I have about the CIAA in this instance.
Yeah. Now, and see, for example, like, the only teams that don't have a game on week 1 besides Fayetteville State is Bowie State, but they have a full schedule. So I don't know how. Very interesting. You bring up a good point. Yeah, what's going to happen there with that with right now, I think it's Fayetteville. I'll do the math a little later. I think Fayetteville is the only one that doesn't have a full
eighth game.
8 conference games. I think everybody else is playing 8 because they've either been able to reschedule. Again, Johnson C. Smith has been able to schedule. Let's see, Johnson C. Smith has been able to schedule a game around the St. Aug date. Winston-Salem has been able to schedule around it. Right now, Livingstone is the only team that hasn't.
Well, you say Livingstone is Fayetteville.
I'm sorry, did I say that right?
Yeah, you said Livingstone, but then you said Fayetteville before.
Well, you know what? It is Livingstone because they have 3 non-conference games. They play the University of Charleston, they play Virginia Lynchburg, and they have Allen.
Guess who's coming off their schedule if they have to?
Yeah, so the only teams that have, but I just don't know where you would put that game though, because the Livingstone and Fayetteville State, unless you have to somehow bump Charleston, play on week 1.
You're not bumping Charleston. If anything, you got to get rid of that VUL game.
But Fayetteville has a game against UNC Pembroke that week, September 7th. Oof. Yeah, that's a scheduling dilemma for those 2 schools. And I think those are the only 2 schools in the CIAA
that couldn't get that extra game
that are playing.
But don't those 2 already play each other on their schedules?
Yeah. Matter of fact, they do. Yeah. Yep.
Right. So that's a non-factor. They've got to figure something out. Like I say, it's going to be interesting to see how they're going to do this.
Yeah.
Let's take a break. That's a lot. We've been racking our brains too long. We know that, Steve. We know VUL is a winnable game.
You don't want to give up those. You don't want to give up those winnable games. But this year it'll be interesting because the South has not. It'll take us. How long do you think it'll take us before we stop referring to teams as the North and South? It'll probably take us all season.
Brian, as soon as we stop calling it the GCAC.
Okay. Well, yeah, that'll be interesting. Also, one last. That was the last note. I think I didn't see that. And Steve, if you know the date on the CIAA Media Day, let us know because that's the
at least put it in a private chat if you can't release it publicly. Send us both a text message.
Yeah. I'll talk about those dates on the other side. Plus, we promise we're going to take a look at week 0 and week 1 games of interest. We'll talk about that on the other side of this break and more. You're watching the BCSN Sports Wrap right here on the Black College Sports Network. Hang in there with us. We'll be back in just a couple minutes.
The Cuvée Group is a Florida-based marketing and training consulting firm. We help businesses communicate to their target audience and engage them in conversation. We also help to expand their audiences, which will ultimately result in growth for those organizations. In addition to being a certified constant contact specialist, my colleagues and I are also certified in John Maxwell Leadership Principles. We use these proven principles to conduct workshops, training, and private coaching sessions for individuals and companies looking to take things to the next level. Contact us to schedule a free consultation. Issues today, don't delay, call Cuvée.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app. As we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
From novice to aficionado, find yourself here. High quality cigars plus personal customer service. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge, featuring a meticulous, curated collection of premium cigars. Visit our website, www.slowburnwaco.com. That's www.slowburnwaco.com.
All right, welcome back to the BCSN SportsWrap. Bryan Fulford here, and there is A.D. Drew.
I forgot to turn my camera back on, man.
That's all right. I got you. Want to encourage everybody, while we thank you for the thumbs up and the likes, we always also want to encourage you. You can be a part of what we're doing at the Black College Sports Network by becoming a member of our YouTube page. Right there, JBN, MyJBN online/join. Be a part of the Black College Sports Network. We are a part of Jericho Broadcast Networks. So, I mean, outside of the content from the BCSN, there's also other content. And coming this fall, we'll actually have our merchandise store up. So there's other ways in which you can support. But the most simplest way is by becoming not just a subscriber, but becoming a member of our channel. And when you become a member, you will get, there'll be opportunities to get some exclusive merch, discounts on some merch, as well as some exclusive shows that we may be doing and make exclusive just for our members, or at least give our members first watch opportunities. So again, youtube.com/myjbn online/join, become a member of the Jericho Broadcast Networks and Black College Sports Network YouTube page. We appreciate all your support. Okay, media days, football media days are coming up. I was just looking at the calendar because my sister sent me a note here talking about when her and my dad wanted to come down to Florida. And I think there's a problem with the date. Oh, yeah. Okay, so
which media day you gonna be at?
Yeah, look, I'm like, I'm gonna be in that direction when you guys are trying to come here. Anyway, what we do know is July 10th is the SIAC Football Media Day, 8 a.m. in Atlanta, usually at the College Football Hall of Fame. I'm going to stay away from critiquing any media days at this time, Drew. I'm just going to announce the dates because I almost said something. Then a week later in Birmingham, Alabama, will be the SWAC Football Media Day, July 16th in Birmingham, Alabama. 1 week after that, almost a week and almost a full week, really. July 23rd will be the MEAC Football Media Day in Norfolk, Virginia. So again, when and where is the CIAA Football Media Day? I have not seen that date released by the CIAA. Yeah, so I'm trying to think, Drew, where has it fallen in the past? Do you recall?
It's always fallen around the MEAC Media Day. Now, MEAC has usually been at the end of that week that they're doing it, that last full week of July. It's usually been always like Thursday or Friday, with the CIAA normally being in the earlier part of that particular week. So now with the MEAC taking that day, are they still going to be back to back, and they just flip their roles, or what? I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, the And I think last year, I'm just kind of looking at the CIAA last year.
Steve just put a note in here. CIAA moving to Durham was announced on Thursday.
Durham,
North Carolina.
Okay.
Number one, that's drivable instead of flyable for me.
Last year it was in Roanoke, Virginia. It was on a Wednesday and a Thursday. They did a 2-day thing. They kind of did a some
camp.
workshops, camps, things on the first day,
and then the media.
Yeah. So again, the MEAC is July 23rd. Now that's not the last Friday this year because of the calendar.
No, 23rd is a Tuesday.
Okay, it's a Tuesday. I'm sorry. Thank you for pointing that out. So that does open up the end of the week if the CIAA wants to try to do something for that date, the Durham. So the location has been announced. Moving to Durham, but we just don't know the exact date. It doesn't look like we know the exact date. We say hello to Theron checking in. Yeah, definitely. Happy Father's Day to you. Of course, HBCU Band Talk checking in. I think that Durham date starts in 2025, according to Steve. Steve said Durham. So maybe they'll be in Roanoke again for one more year, sounds like.
Yeah. Well, looks like I'm going to have to fly again.
Tough break, Drew. Tough break. But yeah, so anyway, I got to tell my sister, sis, that's the date I'm supposed to be at the SWAC Media Day on the 16th. But I will come back right after. So obviously I'll be back in Orlando on the 17th right after. So I got to start making plans now, figure out where I'm going to fly to, where I'm going to drive to, and go from there. Before we talk about week one, Drew, let's guess. Let's do a guessing game here. Who do you think will be the preseason favorite in the SIAC?
In the SIAC, ooh,
Because obviously
you got to go.
Last year.
You got to go with Miles.
Okay.
Miles will definitely be there. Albany State, Tuskegee. I think those are going to be your top three. If you want predicted order, I'll just put it like this: this will be the predicted order of finish by the preseason predicted order of finish.
Okay.
You're probably going to have Albany State predicted 1.
Okay.
Miles 2, Benedict 3, Tuskegee 4. Maybe flip-flop Benedict Tuskegee. That's probably going to be what the preseason predicted order finish is going to be.
So just so people recall, obviously Benedict we know went unbeaten
for the last 2 years.
I'd be surprised with the coaching change if people go back to the well with Benedict. Well, remember 2 years ago they didn't predict Benedict to go unbeaten, but they did the second year. I'd be surprised if they predict Benedict this year. So that puts the 4 teams that finished in 6-2. That's your Fort Valley State, Miles, Tuskegee, Albany State. Don't forget Fort Valley State won the bowl game. Miles, Tuskegee, Albany State all finished. I wouldn't be surprised to see Tuskegee. I won't be either Tuskegee or Fort Valley State. That's my wild guess. One of those two will be the 1 and 2. It's tough to say.
You're talking your actual prediction or just your preseason predicted order of finish?
This is when they do the preseason predicted order of finish.
Yes.
I think the voters, which we know is coaches and SIDs, right?
Yeah.
They will probably guess or say Fort Valley or Tuskegee. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna go on. Yeah.
I'm thinking Albany State's gonna get the nod
Okay. Yeah.
on the preseason predicted order of finish.
Okay.
They finished runner up to the team that hadn't lost a conference game in 2 years. The team that hasn't lost a conference game in 2 years lost the head coach, the quarterback, and everything else significant with their team. So they figuring that they are the second best team. But everybody remembers there were a glutton of teams that were essentially separated by math last year. What I
Yes.
mean by math, the nerds had to pull out the calculations to see who was going to win because on the field they were that even, and there were four teams playing for second place: Tuskegee, Miles, Albany. Actually, 5 teams: Albany State, Fort Valley State, and Allen was there. Well, we know Allen's coach is now at Clark Atlanta. Let's see how high up. Let's see how up Clark Atlanta moves within this year also.
That'll be interesting because Clark, who finished second, I just had it.
I think they finished over.
Yes, they were 0-8, 0-10, 0-8 in the conference, 0-10 overall. So the question is, with new coach and
Teddy,
a quarterback who was was when he player of the year. So you got a big improvement in quarterback. How high up will they look at Clark? I definitely will. I'm going on a limb here. Clark will not be predicted to finish last. I'm going on a wild guess here. The Clark will not be predicted to finish last. I don't know if they'll predict him as high as top 4, but I'm saying they won't be last.
Here's the next one for you, Brian.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you put Edward Waters in that?
Ooh,
who surprised just as many people as Allen did last year?
Yeah. New quarterback, different quarterback. They don't have the quarterback from last year.
Don't have the running backs.
Don't have the running back from last year. That'll be interesting. I'm gonna guess middle of the road. A lot of people. That's the thing about this. A lot of people don't know. I mean, unless you just,
especially with the roster turnover due to the portal.
You're gonna go with. Here's the factors. You're gonna look at it and say which of those top 5-6 teams has a returning quarterback, and who has either a coach or one of your top defensive players returning. And based on that, you'll probably take a shot in the dark and throw a dart at the wall and say, yeah, I think that team will finish first or second. I mean, it really is
it is.
It is a guess. And I always love hearing coaches use it as the first bulletin board material we get comes from media day. Oh, y'all thought we were gonna finish 8th, huh? Okay. Well, look, fellas, there you go.
Ain't no y'all. It's not like this. Us predicted it.
Exactly.
These are your peers.
Your peers.
Who say your team? Who think your team is gonna be garbage?
Exactly. Exactly. Okay. Well, since we don't know the CIAA for sure, we'll hold off on that one. How about SWAC? SWAC Media Day, July 16th. What do you think? Again, SWAC does East and West now. So
the only people left with divisions.
The only people left with divisions, right? So the question is, who do you think? This is athletic director, no, not SIDs or maybe the ADs, I don't know, and coaches. Who do you think that they will pick to finish first in the East and first in the West?
Hold up, before we say that, Coach Green already talking to Edward Waters. I know
keep an eye on him. Keep an eye on him. Yeah, definitely worth keeping an eye on.
Coach Green, Coach Green was on Eric Jackson's staff at Rust. I'm just gonna let y'all fill in the blanks on that one right there. and y'all let y'all mind wander.
What are you saying there? What are you saying there, Drew?
So I'll let your. I'm not saying anything. I'm gonna just let your mind wander on that one. Keep your eye on EWU. That on what? How does that? Things to make you go. Anyway.
SWAC East,
SWAC,
look.
SWAC East. Obviously, we know we're just talking preseason. Nothing personal.
If Van
Bad
Talk
talk.
was a voter, we know what he would be picking exactly. Come on, stop it.
Nothing personal band talk, but FAMU is going to probably be predicted to 1. Alabama State's probably going to be 2, and Alabama State will get some first place votes.
They will. I agree with you. I'm 100 with you on that. I think so.
Jackson State will garner
I think Jackson State will get some first place votes as well. I think I think FAM, Alabama State, and Jackson State will all get first place votes, and it may very well come into all of them getting equal first place votes, and whoever people predict to finish second or third will be the one who falls.
Difference. It'll be the difference maker.
Yeah. That's a good guess. That's a good guess.
Right.
West
in the West, who's going to be interested in the West? Obviously, Prairie View, defending Western champion, is going to get some first place votes. Prairie View is going. I say Prairie View. Southern is going to get some first place votes.
Everybody got first place votes last year.
I think everybody but UAPB got a vote last year.
Right, because in the East, Valley got first place votes. If I'm mistaken, Valley got first. Somebody picked whoever did that needs to get their voting credentials.
No, you know what they will. You know what that is. That's that vote when you and we do this sometimes when we voting. We really know who should get Player of the Week, Coach of the Year, whatever the thing is. When you know it should be your guy, but you can't vote for yourself. So you're gonna vote for somebody who you know has no chance of getting it.
That's horrible.
So that's what that Valley vote was.
That's horrible, and that's why
it's between my guy. It's between my guy, my institution, and this other guy. They both got equal resumes. If my guy wasn't up for the award, I would vote for that other guy, but I can't because I think my guy should win it. So I'm gonna throw my vote away and vote for Valley, I'm not giving anything to that other person.
There's no resume that says you should pick Valley. I'm sorry.
No, I'm just saying that's I guarantee you that's how that vote came across, Brian.
Holy cow.
Anyway, let's get back to the West. To the West. PV is gonna get first place votes. Southern's gonna get first place votes, and probably Grambling is going to get first place votes out the West.
You're not giving Alcorn? Nobody's going to take Alcorn first place vote?
Alcorn may sneak a vote in there, but I'm not 100%. I don't know. Alcorn is a surprisingly sneaky school. No one knows what to think about Alcorn. I mean, your returning quarterback, who you thought was going to be a quarterback last year, really didn't play last year. Tyler Macon really didn't play a lot last year because of injury. And you got a new coach. So, and the dynamic in the SWAC is everybody has a new coach or a new quarterback or both. Pretty much. I think Jackson State may be the only team that I could think of that has both coach and quarterback returning.
Who?
Jackson
State? Yeah. No.
Well, both are returning. And the quarterback, I can't think of his name. Quarterback Jackson State was not the wire-to-wire starter. He started a significant number of games.
Yeah, he started the last 5 games.
Right.
You might be right on that. Although, because even though Miles Crawley is coming back to Grambling has a new coach.
Yes.
Southern has a new coach. Alcorn, new coach.
Only other
new quarterback. FAMU, quarterback, new coach.
And coach. Only other team that has their coach coming back for real is Connell Maynard at Alabama A&M. He's got a new quarterback, and he's on the hot seat.
There you go, putting him on the hot seat.
And Bethune has their coach coming back. Don't know what their quarterback situation looks like.
New quarterback, because they're quarterbacks last year. Yeah, you're right. Jackson State only team that does have a returning coach, and I mean, we're not. Okay, Ben. Okay.
Returning starting quarterback or returning quarterback who played and may have started.
We're not counting.
And when I'm talking about
Kovic at FAMU, he played a game or
two games, whatever. Right. When I'm talking about a starting quarterback, I'm talking about 5 games.
I'd say at least 3, but maybe 4.
I say 5, 4 to 5 games.
I'd say a third of the season. How about third of the season? All right. So who do you think is going to get the vote? I'm going to say they will vote in the West. The votes will turn out, and it'll probably end up being I'm going to say Prairie View will somehow.
Everybody. I think it's going to be just like last year, Brian. Well, no, it won't be. I don't think Texas Southern is going to get any votes this year. It'll be the other 4 teams. The other 4 teams will get a first place vote.
UAPB will get votes either. I don't think UAPB will get votes. So it'll come down to 4 teams.
Right. It's going to come down to 4 teams.
All right. MEAC Media Day, July 23rd. Who do you think among the MEAC 6? Who do you think gets the first place? This is interesting. I was listening to the Golden Boot podcast. Boy, I tell you what, that Howard, North Carolina Central, Morgan State, man, that is a great episode. If you guys didn't catch that episode, boy, that was a fun listen or watch. So
who's going to get first place votes?
Yeah, who do you think will be
honestly,
the predicted?
I think only 2 people are going to get first place votes. That's going to be
only 2.
That's going to be Central and Howard. Will be the only 2 who actually get first place votes. Those 2 are going to all the first place votes. But I think Morgan is going to have enough second, third place votes where they may sneak and bump one of those 2 out of one of those 2 top positions. You understand if I'm making sense?
Yeah.
I think Morgan and Chennis Berry he's not going to get a first place vote. I'm just going to tell everybody. South Carolina State would not get a first place vote. South Carolina State I don't think they will get a first place vote, but they're going to get some second, third place, second, third, fourth place votes in there. I don't think South Carolina State's going to get a first place vote.
Think about first off, he's got, even though it's all new, he's got people that you've seen perform. He's got the quarterback. You've seen him. He's got
do level, do competition, do conference.
Is it that much? Is it that different?
And let's be real. BAC ball is different than SWAC SIAC ball. Because in the BAC, you have to have some semblance of a running game that can deal with going up north in late October into November.
South Carolina State got a running back too.
Yeah, but think about what has killed Benedict in the playoffs. When those teams along that East Coast out that SAC have come into Benedict and come into Columbia and have ran the crap out the ball against Benedict in those 2 playoff games that they played. That East Coast style of ball. That Benedict
Chennis Berry be able to build a strong enough defensive line is what you're alluding or
that East Coast style of ball.
Okay.
Because what he did worked in the South.
Okay. I'm gonna say they will say Howard. I think Howard will get enough first place votes. That will probably be because Howard does have a strong running game coming back. Quarterback might, you listen to some people, quarterback might get better from last year. And I think there are too many unknowns at Central. I mean, Central losing their, even though, it's believed Central's got their guy at quarterback, but they lost a lot of offense in their quarterback and running back, right?
And what that guy do last year when he had the opportunity to play, when it
They
counted
did pretty well.
in one game, but yeah, but they also didn't have confidence in him in the
playoff game.
Yeah,
but that is also, you ride the horse that got you there, and
when the horse you got you there is wounded and
well,
yeah.
Okay.
Did we talk Seattle? Did we say Seattle?
No, but we can mention it. We don't know the date of the Seattle media day, but again,
predicted order.
What do you think it'll be? I again, just to recap from last year when they did. Remember, last year was an East versus West thing. So I'm gonna just look at overall. No, I'm gonna look at conference record and overall record. Well. Okay, anyway, Fayetteville State finished unbeaten in conference last year. Virginia Union finished 7-1 in conference last year. And in the championship game, it was Virginia Union that won. Don't forget, Union's only loss came in a who did they lose to last year? Who did Union lose to?
What did Fayetteville?
It was the Fayetteville, yeah. It was a hurricane.
In the rain.
Is that
in
the
Hurricane? The Hurricane Bowl. Yeah, the Hurricane Bowl.
Yeah, so I think that'll be your predicted order. I think 1, 2,
one. Yeah, it'll be Union, Fayetteville.
I think Virginia State will be 3.
Virginia State 3. It'll be North after that. State, Bowie.
Don't forget, Johnson C. Smith finished with one of their best seasons in a long time.
So who's for Johnson C or Bowie?
Ooh, that's tough. There might be a lot of northern bias, so you're probably right.
There will be northern bias.
Northern division bias. It'll be Bowie. You're right. You're right. They've done it longer. They've proven themselves longer than Johnson C. Smith. So it'll be up to Johnson C. Smith to kind of prove people wrong.
Yes.
In that respect. So, but again, when we get into breaking down the schedules a little bit later, we'll see how, and it's funny because even though the CIAA is not doing North and South this year,
they're still playing the North-South schedule this year.
There are crossover games where Northern teams play the Southern teams. Well, what used to be Northern and Southern.
They're using the same schedule model this year that they have used previously, except for filling in the St. Augustine gap.
Right, which we still have to figure out how that's going to play out.
Yeah.
So,
we're less than 6 minutes from a possible shutout in the championship game.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. I'm mad I didn't bet on the second half when it was a tie. It was 0-0 at the half, wasn't it? Or 7-0?
8-0.
Yeah, I should have jumped in on Birmingham on this. But anyway.
See, and that's what San Antonio get for coming into St. Louis last week and talking trash to the fans. Knowing that they had to come back and play in there 2 weeks in a row.
I swear, did you see that little thing flying around? Is that a bird or a drone?
That's a drone. That's a drone.
Okay. I was trying
they don't have the regular cams wired in there anymore, the sky cam. So they using an old-fashioned drone.
And I bet you it probably gives you quality stuff just as good as
I've seen a couple of the shots that they're showing that says drone cam or something like that.
That's a drone cam right there. The one behind over top of the man, we ought to be able to use some of that drone cam technology from some of our broadcasts. Anyway,
but there's FCC and licensing and all that stuff you have to go through and do all that.
Okay, let's get into talking about before we have to get out of here while we still have some time on tonight's show to talk about some of the top games that caught our attention for week 0 and week 1 of the college football season. Again, week 0 is technically August 18th through the 24th, as Dr. Cavill had put in the chat, but most people are probably playing that Saturday, the 24th. I know this game.
Like Dr. Cavill said, D1 and D2 weeks are different. The week 0 and the week 1.
I didn't see that. What did he
Week
say
0.
about that?
Oh, he sent the text to me. He
Oh,
may
so
not
what
have
is
sent
week,
it
what
to
is week 0 and D2 then? If it's not
week 0 is what I had. I believe is what I had suggested, that Thursday through that Wednesday, or how the weeks roll.
See, well, this is why everything I do, I base it off Saturday, and then obviously if you're playing 2 days before Saturday, I just make a little notation, or if you're playing the day after. But everybody, I'm basing everything off of the Saturday. That's what I love about college football. You know it's on Saturday. It's on Saturday.
Exactly.
All right. So it all starts with this game right here. The Cricket MEAC SWAC Challenge in Atlanta, Georgia, between Norfolk State and FAMU in Atlanta, Georgia. Week 0 MEAC SWAC Challenge. Should be a great game, I think. We won't get into the numbers and analytics, but I will say, Drew, I'm thinking that the pre-line on this, if I had to open the line, I would say FAMU by 10. That's the opening line for this game. I would say FAMU by 10. What do you think? Crazy? Am I crazy for that?
Nah, I think you're probably right. You're talking about a Division II coach coming. I'm sorry, no, that's wrong game. You're talking about Dawson Odoms coming off another disappointing season at Norfolk. Norfolk is supposedly be improved. Is this a make or break year for Coach Odoms there at Norfolk?
Well,
this game may go a long way in determining that. If Norfolk comes down and lays an egg, it may signal the beginning of the end for Norfolk, and for Coach James Colsey. I mean,
what?
How do you begin the Colsey era?
Oh, how do you begin? Well, yeah.
Yeah, how do you begin the Colsey era? This game is going to go a long way, and fans, you got what you wanted. You got James Colsey as your coach. Players, you got what you wanted. You got James Colsey as your coach. Now, let's put pen to pad, and this is where the rubber hits the road. Let's see what this is. What this means for you, having Coach James Colsey as your coach. And Bryan, let's think about this. FAMU has not lost to another HBCU, not named Jackson State, since the pandemic.
Yeah, that's a great point. That's a great point. What is that? 3 years. 3 years.
Yes.
Wow. That's awesome. Year 3 for Norfolk State.
Did they wait a minute? Hold up, Bryan.
Who's saying Norfolk has improved? I might be 80. 80 is saying that, Edwin. That's who's saying that.
Right. Didn't in last season at the BAC, didn't FAMU also go undefeated? But that was the year they couldn't go to do anything, could go to the Celebration Bowl. Weren't they undefeated at the BAC that season also?
The self-imposed
yes.
sanction.
Yeah, weren't they undefeated at the BAC that year? And I'm thinking now. So it may be 2018 that they have lost to a HBCU opponent not named Jackson State.
I gotta think back. You might be right. Yeah. The last non. No. That was the year they lost to doggone Bethune in 2019. 2019, last game of the season, Bethune.
Okay.
Yeah.
I stand corrected.
But they had not lost going into that game.
Right.
That's they would have technically clinched the MEAC title had they not been self-imposed, even without the Bethune loss. But it only
So they have not. I know they haven't lost to anybody post pandemic.
Yeah, I would keep
Not named Jackson State.
Yeah, I would keep it to post pandemic. But anyway, I'm setting the line at like 10. Road Dog's already dropping in 33-14. He's giving predictions already. I don't. But what I will say, you mentioned. I remember the scene. Remember last year, and you were there. The Jackson State. It was the first game for TC Taylor, and I'll never forget the Jackson State crowd was in such a. They were so excited that TC was leading this team. I remember late in the fourth quarter, the chants of TC, 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 right? I mean, that was a great start to the era. I expect FAMU fans to do the same thing. I expect to hear at the end of that game, everyone chanting Cole Z, Cole Z, Cole Z. That's the kind of excitement that I expect to hear from FAMU folks.
Hey, Brian.
Yeah.
You know what's going to be probably as good, if not better, than the game?
What?
The Legion versus the 100.
Oh, yeah. Jeff Roberts pointed that out, boy. Yeah, I think that's going to be – the Legion is very underrated. Very underrated, but
underrated to who? If you've seen them, and we've seen them in Tallahassee.
When people talk about top 5 HBCU bands, I don't think they mention. I'm just speaking at casual. Like if we put a poll up and said
you're gonna start Jackson State Southern 1-2, depending on your.
You will also
your preference.
You will
and
say
FAMU will be there.
FAMU, Jackson State Southern. And then you will start
everybody else.
Other people. I mean, people may throw in A&T. People may throw in, don't forget, A&T won the National Band Championship, right? Yeah. People will also throw in possibly Grambling, Alcorn.
The Aristocrats of bands.
I don't think people don't.
That's another one they sleep on, though.
Yeah, people don't come off the tongue with the Legion, but they are very good. That's going to be a good competition when we have it. Okay, so that's now. Then we get into week 1. When week 1 out, Steve clarifies something here. August 31st, even though Division 1, that is week 1, apparently Division 2 considers August 31st week 0. That is the craziest thing. I'm not even going to.
Hence the confusion of this whole podcast.
Exactly. Why can't we? Oh God, the NCAA, they make things so difficult. But anyway, okay. Week 1. We move into. Hold on, where's my graphic? Okay, there we go. How about this contest? Red Tails Classic between Tuskegee. The first year that Tuskegee is not playing Fort Valley.
Correct. In the Classic.
And what they played Fort Valley, the previous 2 or 3 years?
I believe it's 3 years.
And Fort Valley won all 3 of those, if I'm not mistaken,
no,
right?
2 of the 3.
2 of the 3.
Tuskegee won the last one.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this year you get SIC versus the CIAA, Johnson C. Smith, fresh off of their bowl appearance. I almost called it a bowl win, but their bowl appearance at the end of last season, a lot of excitement. So here you got Tuskegee, that one, and that is played in the Crampton Bowl, correct?
Correct. And that is, obviously that is going to be a pro Tuskegee crowd at the Crampton Bowl, a venue that Tuskegee is very, very, very familiar with. Tuskegee has won probably more games there than anybody not named Alabama State in that facility. Including beating Alabama State 2 out of every 3 times that they have played them traditionally. And that also, if you remember 2 years ago when Tuskegee was Field Cleve Abbott Alumni Memorial Stadium was under renovation, they played their home schedule at the Crampton Bowl. So, and Tuskegee is so comfortable with the Crampton Bowl, even when they are the host institution and they play other games there, they still sit on the visitor side. from the tradition of the Alabama State game. Even when Tuskegee is the home team, they will be on the visiting sideline.
Interesting.
Yes.
All right. All right.
I don't even think Tuskegee fans know even how to get to that half of the stadium where the home side is.
Right. Jeff says, will Johnson C. Smith as well as Livingstone, will they build on last year's progress? I think this is the first step in finding that out about Johnson C. Smith.
Here's a nugget for you, Brian.
Mm-hmm.
Coach Flowers, the coach at Johnson C. Smith, beat Tuskegee the 2 years he was there at Fort Valley.
Okay.
Interesting nugget.
Interesting nugget.
So he's 2-0 in that facility in that game.
Well, there's a nugget for you. There's a take that to the bank. Coach, it's the debut of Coach Aaron James, correct?
No, second year.
Second year. Okay, I said that, but Mike Reed, I love this. Never bet against a school with a logo. Never been against a school with a logo of Schlitz malt liquor. You know you old, Mike. If you remember the logo of the Schlitz malt liquor, boy, you know you are old.
And now that he says that is the epitome. That's all I'm. From now on, when I see the Johnson C logo,
Mike,
that's all I'm gonna think is somebody go get my Schlitz.
I hope they win because that. Oh my God, help me. Okay. I see we're still debating about that battle of bands between the Legion and the 100. That's interesting.
Here's another one that's going to be a good band battle.
Right. Black College Football Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio. A year before you actually get the CIAA and SIC champion, you do get a CIAA SIC matchup between the defending champs, new coach, new quarterback, a lot of new stuff at Benedict, and Virginia State University, the Trojans. They will be top 4 contenders, I'm sure, in that. That game will be on Sunday, September 1 in Canton, Ohio. You pointed out the band competition. That'll be interesting, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because no, they weren't in it. There was other blue and orange. I'm about to say Virginia State was in the HBCU band championship, but I'm mistaken. That was Florida Memorial.
Yeah, Florida Memorial.
Yeah.
So that's
not to cut you off, Brian. Looks like we are going to get that shutout. Birmingham just got that first down that they need. Now they can knee it out.
Yeah,
as they lead 25-0.
Skip Holtz becoming the Vince Lombardi, Bill Belichick of spring football. This will be his third title. He won 2 titles in what was the XFL?
Yes.
And now
XFL.
Yeah, and now he wins a title in the UFL. And
one more play.
Who's that?
Oh, they called a flag.
They just couched. They just hit up with the Gatorade. That's the DC.
Yes.
Man, Birmingham Stallions. Can you imagine? Now this happens in soccer, so just go with me here. Imagine if they promoted
relegation and promotion.
Right. Think if you take who was the worst NFL team this past year?
Carolina.
Think if they took the Carolina Panthers and moved them to the UFL and took the Birmingham Stallions and promoted them to the NFL. How awesome would that be? How awesome would that be? That'd be crazy, right? Obviously, it's hard to do when one team plays in the spring.
And now they're getting ready to get the head coach.
Oh, they got Skip Holtz ever get a job in the NFL? Question. Would you anyway. They came from all 3 sides. He thought he looked one way and it was like, oh, smack. They coming from 2 different angles. That's pretty cool. Good for those guys. And how about this? The quarterback of Birmingham, was it Adrian? The kid, Adrian Gonzalez is his name. Former Nebraska quarterback. He's been the QB for those 3 titles. Will he get an opportunity in the NFL one day? Damn, Bum Phillips loses another championship. No title for the Phillips family. That's tough. Okay, back to HBCUs. Here's some Division II non-conference games that affect regional rankings that should be paid attention to in week 1. How about Albany State traveling to Valdosta State?
That's actually a traditional rival in this area.
Okay.
In this area, that's a game that usually has very good attendance because those 2 schools are less than 2 hours away from each other. And yeah, they once again, they know that game is going to affect regional rankings. Valdosta State has traveled to Albany State. Valdosta State does good about trying to play either Fort Valley State or Albany State every year. They may skip a year every now and then, but they usually have one of those 2 on their schedule annually.
And those games are games within the region too. Those
yes, they are regions.
Those region games because Valdosta State plays in a very, very good league, well-respected league.
Yes.
So
and they're going to get 3. They're going to get 3 bids out that league.
Right. So for an Albany State team, who now all credit to head coach, FAMU Hall of Famer, Quinn Gray. They didn't have a great non-conference season. They had a great conference season. Non-conference, though, I think they started out 0-4, maybe.
Something ridiculous like
maybe
that.
they lost the first 4 games, but they went 0-2. There was only 2 or 3 non-conference games anyway.
Yeah.
So this would be a big win for Albany State. Should it happen? Of course, the last time Valdosta State lost at home to an HBCU was when Virginia Union a couple seasons ago went there when they were number 2 when Valdosta State, hey, friend of the program, Coach Jackson, when they were of course he's the head coach at Valdosta State. So trust me, they will not sleep. Valdosta State will not sleep on Albany State coming to town. This
2 friends of the program, Dr. Alvin Parker and Coach Tremaine Jackson.
Exactly. Another game, regional non-conference Division II game to pay attention to. Miles traveling to West Alabama. It's another game between 2 Alabama schools that I think. So you got a pair
and those two schools are just over an hour from each other. Maybe.
Good. Should be good crowds. Should be a good opportunity for the Miles and Albany State crowd to travel, and it won't be crazy, right? It won't be it's not like you're making a long road trip. This is within a day trip.
Yes.
Yeah, you can try because Albany State and Valdosta, is that even an hour?
No, it's right at 2.
Oh, it's 2 hours? Okay. Well, still
it's right at 2 hours.
That's a day trip. That's not bad. Okay. I didn't see any other spotlight games in Division II, Drew. I don't know if you looked at the matrix. Was there any other Division II game that you saw that caught your eye?
Let me pull up the matrix because my iPad closed out.
Try to answer some questions here. Let me look and see. Steve says he hopes that Johnson C. Smith and Livingstone get back to the business of losing to Winston-Salem State. Right.
It'd be nice to see. It'd be nice to see Winston-Salem State get back into the football business. Seriously.
Right. I always love people's wishes and dreams about conferences. The NFL Network would have to, I don't know. I don't know if the NFL Network is not 100% in the business of college football games, but you never know. I won't say never.
Yeah. Now we're just talking on the Division II level, Brian.
Just Division II level. Yeah, we're about to do Division Ones here in a second.
I think it's interesting that the Labor Day weekend has multiple conference matchups for both the CIAA and the SIAC under the new scheduling formats.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think that, I mean, you come in right out the gate in games that mean something.
Right. And some of those conference games you're referring to in the
See,
SIC.
SIAC, you've got Clark Atlanta and Fort Valley.
You know what?
Everwaters at Morehouse.
Yeah.
And in the CIAA, you've got Bluefield at Winston-Salem. You've got Elizabeth City. Excuse me. You've got Winston-Salem at Bluefield. I got that backwards. Elizabeth City at Shaw. Lincoln at. Oh, that's the wrong one. Let's see. Yeah, those are the two main ones right there.
Yeah,
as far as conference game.
Yeah, and obviously I could have. Yeah, I'm glad you brought those up. I mean, those will be good games. I think maybe not spotlight games,
but the fact that they're conference games, they definitely need to mention.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, let's look at some of the Division I games happening in week 0 that we should be looking at. I'm gonna start with this one. The Denny's Orange Blossom Classic in Miami Gardens. North Carolina Central versus Alabama State. This game will be on Sunday. And if you remember the last 3 years, it's been Florida A&M and Jackson State. Interesting for several reasons. I think you have both programs have established coaches who are coaching their alma maters. That's always fun. But you got new quarterbacks, and I think Central is very high on their quarterback, and we know about that quarterback at Alabama State, Andrew Body. We didn't see him much. We didn't see him healthy for an entire season last year. Matter of fact, he may have got hurt in week 1 last year in the Labor Day Classic. So if some fan base is going to be really, really excited about their prospects of winning their conference based on this game. And you know what's also interesting, Drew, I mean, yes, I'm saying it. It's not entirely out of the realm of possibility that these teams could find their way back into playing each other. Guess where? In Atlanta.
In Atlanta.
December 14th.
Yeah.
It's not out the realm of possibility.
Yeah. So you know what's going to be interesting, Brian? Will the fans of these two institutions be willing to travel to Miami Gardens, Florida for a classic, or travel for a classic period, not name the Aggie Eagle or Magic City? Especially when you are a Central fan and you've got 3 big trips in a short period of time. You know, you've got A&T. You got 3 of your first 4 games away from home. You've got Alabama State, Alabama State neutral site. You've got Elon at home. You go to UNC, and then you have A&T. Interesting. Or when you're Alabama State, now Alabama State, they go down to Miami. Did they come home and play Miles, who, don't forget, Miles upset them last year, beating them at home in the Labor Day Classic. So the Labor Day Classic that won't be played on Labor Day this year. And then they travel to Birmingham to play FCS Sanford. So that's going to be interesting. You know, it'll be easier for the Alabama State fans to get on the road and follow the Hornets down to Miami than it will be for Central fans. I don't know, but Central is in the state of North Carolina the next 3 weeks, so fans should be able to get up on the road.
Well, and I'll throw one other, which I forgot about because I'm updating our matrix here. Norfolk State and North Carolina Central moved their conference game, which originally was supposed to be November 9th at North Carolina Central. Now it will be September 28th in Indianapolis for the 40th annual Circle City Classic.
Right.
So again, for not only just Central fans, but for Norfolk State fans,
a lot of travel early.
A lot of travel early in the season for both. Okay, I just updated the matrix so that. But anyway, it'll be interesting to see what attendance is like. That game will be on ESPN. It'll be interesting to see what the crowds are like, and I think it'll be good for them. You know, you gotta think new fan bases with a chance to travel to Miami for Labor Day weekend, and you haven't been. It's something new, like you said. You talked about the Aggie Eagle Classic. This is a classic that you've never been. It's something new. Why wouldn't you want to take part of something new? And so I won't make any. I'll save my predictions on attendance. I got to wait to do some digging and look at what the ticket sales kind of look like. But I hope the fan bases do show up. Okay, I think this is the game of the weekend in. Game of the week in week 1. South Carolina State, the debut of Chennis Berry at South Carolina State, traveling to Tallahassee, Florida for the opening of the Colsey era, the home winning streak that FAMU has. This is going to be a game. This is going to be an interesting game.
This is the something has got to give game.
Something has got to love it.
Okay. Why do I say that?
Okay.
Obviously, we know FAMU has a 20+ game home winning streak.
Yep.
Coach Chennis Berry has not lost a regular season game in 2 years.
Yeah.
He has won 20, I believe it's 23 or 24 in a row.
Yeah.
Dating back to the 2021 season.
Correct. Yep.
Something has got to give.
Oh, yeah.
Chennis Berry will either get his first loss or FAMU's home winning streak will come to an end in this game.
Look at you. All right. That's like game 1A. I think game 1-2 may be that Central Alabama State game, but this will be the feature game on that Saturday. So that'll be a fun game to watch. How about this contest? Former MEAC, I don't know if they're rivals or not, but Morgan State comes in with a lot of expectation, I think. We know Damon Wilson. This is year 3, correct? Under him?
Year 2.
Year 2. This is year 2?
Year 3. Yes, you're right.
Okay, I was gonna say I thought last year they made some great strides in year 2. Remember the non-conference games where where they had a game won and then they blew it. I forgot who it was. It was a FBS team that
Yes.
they had on the ropes.
I
and
know who
some-
you're talking about.
Yeah,
Northwestern, was it? Was it Northwestern?
Nah, it wasn't Northwestern. I don't think it was. I
Who
don't
was
know,
it?
but they had somebody on the ropes. Anyway, Morgan State is going to be everybody's darling. I think everyone's going to have high expectations. Year number 3 under Coach Wilson. Hampton's going to have a new coach, but Hampton has some. I think Hampton has some nice returning pieces on offense.
Hampton Bay has probably the best quarterback coming back in HBCU football.
Thank you. I'm glad you said that. He is so and you're talking about Chris. I think it's Chris Zealous.
Yes, Chris Zealous.
And they've got a running game. I'm telling you, man. I think he could be up for player. He's got to stay healthy and he's got to win some conference games. That's the X factor. Can Hampton win some conference games? But I think this should be. I don't know about the new coaching situation at Hampton. So whenever you get rid of your coach right after spring practice, that's a little alarming. But okay, it's done.
Yes,
this will be an interesting ball game. Yeah. Okay. I don't think I made any other graphics. Nope. Okay. Here's some other Division I games. Obviously, you got the Labor Day Classic, Prairie View versus Texas Southern. I think, Prairie View should probably take care of business. It'll be interesting to see what Texas Southern looks like under, I think it's Chris Dishman now, the new head coach. And no Andrew Body either. So first year, no new coach, new quarterback. Or maybe Texas Southern has a returning quarterback. The young man who played a little bit, I think he's a returner. So that'll be interesting to see. Here are some games, and obviously the paycheck games begin. So you got some paycheck games. You got some HBCUs playing some FBS games. You got Alcorn State traveling to UAB on Thursday, the 29th. Howard traveling to Rutgers. Alabama A&M traveling to Auburn. Bethune-Cookman traveling to USF. I think all of those games, the point spread will be probably plus 28 points, maybe even to the 30s. If I were to go out on a limb and say who might be able to cover,
Alcorn. I think Alcorn will be the one team that can cover.
Possibly, yeah, because I was going to say Bethune-Cookman, but I just because I remember seeing USF last year. Florida kids versus Florida kids. But yeah, I like Alcorn. Now, here's I'm going to give you 2 games, Drew. When you say a potential upset could brew, think about this. Grambling traveling to Louisiana Lafayette. Now, Louisiana Lafayette, I think, is in I forgot which, CUSA. They were 6-7 last year. Six or 7 games were all within a touchdown, like won or lost within a touchdown. So it'll be interesting to see what Grambling looks like. Big opportunity for Jackson State. Jackson State travels to UL Monroe. UL Monroe was 2-10 last year. That game was on a Thursday. What do we say about Jackson State? Only team in the SWAC with the returning what?
The head coach.
And?
Quarterback.
Hey, Jackson State, get it done. No excuses. UL Monroe on a Thursday, too. That's Thursday. You get a 2-10 UL Monroe. So just take that for what it's worth. And then 2 games against FCS PWIs that I think are an interesting note to pay attention to. Southern at McNeese State. For the longest, we used to joke about McNeese State being the 13th member of the SWAC, right?
Correct.
Until what happened last year? Alcorn finally beat them.
Yes.
Alcorn beat them. McNeese State was 1-10 last year. 1-10. Now, great opportunity for Southern. And then Delaware State traveling to Sacred Heart. I'm not saying that's an upset opportunity, but remember, Delaware State lost to Bowie last year to start the season. Delaware State's got a new coach. What is Sacred Heart? I mean, Sacred Heart, are they a playoff team? Nah. Are they a title contender? Nah. So, good opportunity for Del State.
Right.
All right.
I got one other one I want you to take a look at.
What do you got?
Tennessee State Valley.
Oh yeah, I thought about that, but I stayed away from it. I thought about it though.
And you know why? This game is in Nashville, right?
Yes, it should be. Yes.
Okay. You know why I bring that out? Because they'll draw more in that game than they probably will the next 3 home games combined.
But that game was probably going to be at Hale Stadium. I don't think they're going to be playing that in Nissan.
And which is good. You can pack out Hale.
Yeah. Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah.
All right, I'll put that down. Valley at Tennessee State. Okay. So those are some of the games that we looked at that we'll kind of come back in the next week or two and kind of look at some possible win predictions. And obviously what's going to be upcoming is we've got to put together our season win totals. I know that's real fun. You guys always get a kick out of that, or at least you did last year.
I reserve the right to wait till after media day before I do any of that. For each conference.
I got to put it out there going into media day because we got to have something to talk about.
I'd like to wait till after media day because I need to figure out who's still on the roster and who's transferred in with the fluidity of everybody's roster nowadays.
But okay, that's a good point. But what I will do is my goal is to set the line, and then the line will move based on
media day.
So how about that?
That's fair. That's fair.
I'll set the opening because there are opening game numbers and spreads and stuff that are already being published, right? For other levels. So I'm going to try to look at what I think are the games of the year, maybe put some real early preseason line predictions out. And then as the season goes, we kind of see if those lines are still valid or not.
Sounds like
one day, Drew, I have a dream that one day a sports book will actually have the guts to put up HBCU FCS lines prior to 48 hours to kickoff.
Put a pin in that.
Put a pin in it. They're scared. They don't want to. They worried. Like folks are going to the table. Okay. Well, that's gonna be it for tonight's show. We want to thank everybody for tuning in and watching. Drew, you got any final thoughts or words you want to share and say for people?
Just want to let everybody know because nobody decided they wanted to guess where I'm at. I am in Phoenix, Arizona, right now, and getting used to this schedule. Waking up to live sports, not replays. It has been a challenge over the last couple of days since I've been here. There were games on. I missed the Indiana game because I didn't realize that it came on at 9:00 this morning here.
Oh, the Indiana Fever game.
Yes, the Indiana Fever game. I missed the start of it. It was, it was in the second half when I realized, like, oh crap, that game started at 9:00 in the morning here. So being here in 3 hours behind what I'm used to has been a real adjustment. But it was only 108 when I went outside earlier today, Brian.
Ooh-wee. 108. That's tough.
Different type of heat.
Different type of heat. All right.
Yeah.
Well,
but you can stand outside at 108 degrees and not sweat.
How's the I thought there was a lot of fires and smoke in the Arizona area. Does that reach your area?
It better not reach my area till I get out of here.
No, I mean in terms of like, can you smell the
No.
You can't. Okay,
Yeah. I don't know what's going on with that.
Okay, maybe I don't know. It's hot. When it's hot out there,
It's
them
hot.
flash fire, what do you call them?
But
Hey,
they did give us a fair warning. They said something about if a dust storm should occur. I'm like, oh my God.
dust storms, nice. Dust storms.
Yeah. I'm like, I wear contacts. Dust storms and contacts do not go together.
Bad combination. Any NBA finals predictions? Will the Celtics close it out on Monday?
Yes. Gentlemen sweep.
Yeah, I think so too. I think they just wanted to get back and celebrate it in Boston. Will the Florida Panthers close out the Stanley Cup final? I don't know whatever day they're playing at.
I think they are
Tuesday.
Yes. They probably another situation.
All right, so book it. Celtics close it out. Florida Panthers close it out. Home court, home ice, victory celebrations should be worth watching. All right. Thanks to everybody who tuned in, watched. Appreciate all of you. Hopefully, again, happy Father's Day to all of you fathers, uncles,
real fathers, real men,
coaches, teachers, father figures. Hopefully, you had a great day today. Hopefully, we thank you for pouring love into young people. That's what it's all about. So, again, any number of ways that you can join or be a part of what we do here. You can join our YouTube channel here, right here on the Jericho Broadcast Networks. You can subscribe monthly to that, or you could always make a donation to the JBN page. You can always donate to the show right there. There's the Cash App scrolling on the bottom of the screen. MyJBN, MyBCSN, or just simply also join us Facebook, X, Instagram, MyBCSN1. We also have a Facebook and YouTube page for our show, BCSN SportsWrap. Any shows that you might have missed, we'd appreciate you subscribing there as well. Follow us on Twitter. You see our Twitter handles right there. So we thank everybody. Look out for the BCSN Pod Zone everywhere you listen to podcast. Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, and so forth. House of the Dragons comes on tonight, Drew. For you, I don't know. Are you into that? Do you watch that? Oh, you're missing out. Did you ever watch Game of Thrones?
No, I was not into Game of Thrones.
My God. Oh, I can't talk to you. You never watched Game of Thrones?
No.
Holy cow. All right, it's time to go. I can't believe you didn't watch Game of Thrones. Okay. Anyway, House of the Dragons tonight, 9:00 Eastern. For those of you who watch, I'm debating on if I want to get a temporary HBO Max subscription just so I can watch. But anyway, that's going to do it for tonight. Be well. Again, happy Father's Day to everybody. Mr. Drew, happy Father's Day. Mr. Fulford, happy Father's Day to you and to you and yours. Hope you guys had a great day, blessed day. Have a great week. And make sure to tune in to the Black College Sports Network on Tuesday. Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Wednesday, the ONG Strike Zone. And again, Thursday with Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab, followed up by Carlos Brown on Saturday. That's our weekly schedule for now. More to come. Be well, be safe, and have a great week, everybody. Peace out.
Travel light, everybody. We'll holler.
But you stay hard.